Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving deep into a classic fairy tale that's filled with mystery, magic, and a touch of danger. The King of the Golden Mountain. Settle in, get comfortable, and let's begin our story. Once upon a time, in a small cottage on the edge of a village, lived a merchant. He had once been successful, buying and selling goods, but now his luck had run dry. He had lost all his money, and everything he owned was gone. All he had left in the world were his devoted wife and their young son, a bright-eyed boy named Jack. The merchant's heart was heavy with despair. He looked at his family, his love for them, a sharp ache in his chest, and knew he couldn't just give up. He had to provide for them. So with a heavy heart, but a determined spirit, he kissed his wife and son goodbye and set out on a journey, hoping to find some way, any way, to earn back his fortune. Days turned into weeks, and the merchant traveled far from home. He walked through bustling towns and quiet country lanes, but luck was nowhere to be found. One afternoon, his path led him into a deep, dark forest. The trees grew so thick that the sunlight barely trickled through, casting long, spooky shadows on the ground. As he trudged along a winding path, he suddenly came face to face with a peculiar little man. This wasn't just any man. He was small and stout, with a long pointed grey beard that almost touched the ground. The little man looked up at the merchant with twinkling, mischievous eyes. "Why do you look so sad, my friend?" he asked, his voice like the rustling of dry leaves. The merchant, startled at first, couldn't help but pour out his troubles. "I have lost everything," he sighed, the weight of his failure pressing down on him. "I have no money, no goods, and I do not know how I'll ever be able to care for my wife and my little boy." The little man listened patiently, a strange knowing smile playing on his lips. When the merchant had finished, the little man stroked his long beard thoughtfully. "I can help you," he said, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "I can make you richer than you've ever dreamed. Gold, jewels, anything you desire, it can all be yours again." The merchant's eyes widened. Could it be true? Was this the miracle he had been praying for? But then, the little man's smile grew wider, a bit more sneaky. "There is, of course, a price," he continued. "I will give you all this wealth, but in return, you must promise me something. You must give me the very first thing that greets you, the first living creature that runs up to you when you arrive back at your home." The merchant thought for a moment. What would be the first thing to greet him? Probably his old dog, loyal and always happy to see him. It was a sad thought to lose his faithful companion, but his family's well-being was far more important. The dog was old, and this was a chance to give his wife and son a life of comfort and security. It seemed like a fair trade. "All right," the merchant declared, his voice firm. "It's a deal, I promise." The little man cackled, a high-pitched, eerie sound that echoed through the trees. He snapped his fingers, and in an instant, the merchant's worn-out bag was filled to the brim with glittering gold coins. Overjoyed, the merchant thanked the strange little man and turned to race home, his heart pounding with excitement. He couldn't wait to see the look on his wife's face. He ran faster than he ever had before, the heavy bag of gold bumping against his side. As he neared his cottage, he saw the front door swing open. He expected his old dog to come bounding out, tail wagging. But instead, the first to greet him was not his dog. It was his beloved son, Jack. The little boy, having heard his father's footsteps, ran out with a joyful shout, his arms outstretched, and threw himself around his father's legs in a loving embrace. The merchant's blood ran cold. The gold in his bag suddenly felt like a ton of lead. He looked down at his son, smiling face, and then remembered the sinister smile of the little man in the forest. A terrible, chilling realization washed over him. He had just promised away his own child. What had he done? And what would happen when the little man came to collect his prize? And that's where we'll pause our story for today. What a terrifying bargain. What do you think will happen to Jack? Let me know your theories down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching and joining me on this adventure. If you enjoyed it, Please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss the next part of this thrilling tale. We'll see you next time.